you were fortunate enough to have been in BUDS and be a Navy SEAL, and you actually used to mentor SEAL. What is it, tadpoles?
Yeah. Tadpoles, wannabe frogs. They're on their way.
And so you got to see.
Not all the tadpoles become frogs.
No, the vast majority don't, right? What is it, like 75% drop?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's high.
Yeah, it's a high attrition rate. But you could tell.
There was something that I learned from getting to talk with these guys a lot and the only reason that I like to refer back to BUDS and use it as a great example is because it's a very difficult test, and tests help us understand who we are.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of guys prepare for a very difficult test. I talked to my peers when I went through about how they had prepared. But then I also understood in helping other students prepare the type of questions that they asked, right? You're going to ask a lot of questions. All these guys now, I didn't have very many people to ask questions to back then, but now all these tadpoles, they have so many questions. How do I prepare? And something that I noticed that there was a distinct difference in the types of questions from the students who made it and the students who didn't, the questions that they were asking. A lot of the questions that students who didn't make it would ask, because this is a very difficult test and it's very difficult physically, and they thought, if I can just be a physical specimen, if I can be Captain America, BUDS could be easy for me. And it won't. BUDS is designed to be hard. It doesn't matter if you are Captain America, they will still make it hard for you. It's designed to do that to you. So the wrong questions that people would ask is, how fast do I have to be able to run? How many push-ups do I have to be able to do? They ask for this simple thing, like how strong do I physically have to be that BUDS wouldn't be hard for me? And those were the wrong questions because they didn't understand the test. The test was not how physically capable you are. Because if that was the test, they would just go find the best athletes in the world and pull them into training. They would recruit them. There's actually a low bar to get into, respectively, of the training. There's a low bar that you have to pass physically to make it into BUDS. It's not a low bar for physical tests, but respective of the training, it's a low bar. So they weren't necessarily looking for the best athletes. What the test of SEAL training is what do you do in spite of failure? What will you do? How will you respond if I put you in the most difficult of circumstances? So it's a totally different way of preparing.
Yeah.
So the right questions to ask yourself going into BUDS wasn't how many push-ups do I need to be able to do, how fast do I need to be able to swim, not how fast to pass the test, because the wrong questions they were asking was, how fast do I have to run, how fast do I have to swim that it won't be hard for me. That was the wrong question, that it won't be hard for me. The test is designed to be hard for you. So the right questions to make it through SEAL training was, what price am I willing to pay? What is it that could make me quit? Right, and you have to find the answers to those questions, and it has to be within yourself. You have to decide, there's no price that I'm not willing to pay, right? And that's why one of these statements that set me up for success in my life, prepared me for that test, is that you can have anything you want in life as long as you're willing to pay the price for it. So even though I didn't have the same level of preparation that other people did, what I knew is that I was willing to pay any price, right? And I knew it was going to be hard, versus these other students who had thought like, oh, I'm prepared. Right? I have studied so well, I know I will ace this test. And then they got to the test, and the questions were nothing like what the study material. And they said, I'm a failure. I'm not prepared for this test, and they quit.
Man, I love that. Yeah, I could go. My mind could go in 20 different directions. I've heard you tell that story so many times, and it still makes me think.
It's an example of how we can ask the wrong questions, prepare for the test incorrectly, and get there and fail. Yeah. Or if you understand the test, if you look ahead to what's coming for you and you prepare correctly, then and in that situation, it was like, I actually didn't even know how bad the test was going to be. Yeah. There were parts of BUDS that were easier than I thought they were going to be. Right. And I didn't know back then, and it wasn't so easy to Google everything. I didn't know back then how cold the water in San Diego was. I would spend all my time in my pool in Texas in the winter, where in December and January, the pool's like 42 degrees. Ooh. I'd sit in there for an hour. So when we would go to surf torture and the water's 55 degrees for an hour, I'm like, I've done this before.
Yeah. And if you've sat in 40-degree water versus 55, it's
a big difference.
Massive difference.
One of the things that is a beat down through training is log PT. Yeah. I didn't know, right? Nobody had told me. I thought log PT was every day. Log PT they actually took from, we've been reading this book on Unbroken with our men's group. That's where this came from. It came from guys who went through this stuff and as a prisoner of war, and it came into military training. Like, this is a way to really test people, because these guys saw it as prisoners of war, that this was, it's certainly not a great way to treat people, but we could tell who was who from who was resilient enough to withstand this training. I thought that was every day. It's really only once or twice a week. There were all these things that I didn't know, but I didn't ask myself, how do I prepare enough that that'll be easy for me?
Yes.
What I said was, how do I need to prepare that even when it's hard, I won't quit?
And we're gonna break this down, because I hope that right now everybody's starting to realize the power of questions. And I remember the first time I encountered this thought process, it really challenged me and opened me up to a whole new world of possibility. Because what we're saying is, if you can start to tap into a thought process that asks better questions, you will truly see answers that are hidden in broad daylight that perhaps other people are overlooking, or things that are meant for you based on your strengths, your abilities, God's design for your life. So there really is so much power in these. But we're not just going to talk around them. We're going to give you a thought process.
Let me break down a really false misconception that is out there.
Okay.
I saw this in SEAL training. This goes right along with the questions. People think that if you want it bad enough, that you can have it, right? Like I remember I showed you this picture the other day that I got from when I went back to San Diego from one of my friends who had been in training around me of all of us in white shirts.
I love that.
And there was a guy's face that I haven't seen in a decade, and it just snapped back to me, this memory of him crying on the beach. His father was a Navy SEAL, and he was just sobbing about how he had wanted this so bad, right? You can't have it just because you want it. And so this is what will happen to us, right? We'll think like, man, I just want it so bad. I want it enough, and I think that I've prepared correctly. But if you haven't prepared correctly, if you haven't been asking the right questions, it might not matter how much you think in your heart that you wanted it if you're not prepared.